Zebit is so much better than I thought she would be, and it shows in this new deck that's been cropping up. You hit them with ghosts, you land an Odile on 5, and then a Zebit on 6, and then a Ghastly Banishment on 7, and you just win the game. I tried this list, which is what popularized the archetype on stream, and I couldn't really make it work. I got some wins, but also some losses, so I went looking a little deeper, and I found this list, which uses a neutral package of Kronos, Goddess of Compassion, and Asuka Shiori, and I had much more success. So, you know, pick which one you prefer, the more standard mid-range aggressive one, or this slightly control-leaning neutral one. I prefer this one. The idea is the same though, but you also have the tool of Kronos to prevent them from progressing their game plan and helping you to reach your Zebit. You can also ramp with Goddess on 4 to get a Zebit on 5. And then of course Asuka Shiori is great draw as well. So let's get into the game. So first make sure to like the video and subscribe. It really does help out. So we're up against Runecraft here, and part of why I like this deck so much is that it puts on a lot of pressure without necessarily being a quest deck. Like of course you have the Ghastly Banishment end game that you can work towards, but it's not like an on and off switch that a lot of other decks in the game have right now. Mainly you're just fighting for board, and that's part of why I like the deck so much. It just works kinda old school. So we go with a turn 1 Haunted Mansion, probably the best play, alongside a turn 2 Spectral Sorceress plus Ghost. Start accelerating the shadow count. We're up against Sephie right now. Sephie has been a little popular lately on ladder due to the new addition of Kronos, making it easier for them to reach a turn 9 Vengeful Pack, or just Vengeful Pack in general. But lucky for us, we have a Kronos of our own. Not only that, but we also have a Goddess plus Shiori turn 4 to ramp. Alright, so they're gonna go ahead and keep flooding the board with their guys, which is fine by me. It's a true board-on-board matchup here, which is quite fun. So I also accelerate the Odile here, which is nice. Odile is a card where you have that flexibility. You can play it for 5 for the immediate gratification, or for 2 and have it pop off on a turn where you could just use a free body. And if you have play points lying around, you can always just put it out there and it's fine. Alright, now of course this board is big, so the thing I need to do is get rid of it. So Goddess of Compassion not only ramps me, but also clears this board, which is why I quite like this neutral package in this deck, whereas the original one ran stuff like Lieutenant for a board flood. This one is a little more reactive rather than proactive, but the ramp is also so nice. Alright, out comes the Devoted Researcher, and at this point I'm keeping track of their volunteer test subject count. It's getting up there, but it's still not that scary. The Harbinger of the Night, of course, to flood their board a little bit more as well. And here I'm just like, okay, it's Kronos time. Because I see my Zebit in hand, right? And I kind of want to get that on turn 8, because I'm already running low on evolve points here. So if this game goes long, I can go a Zebit on turn 8 to get rid of that. And then I go ahead and spend the Slayer of the Dead as well. And it's not useless to spend the Necromancy here, because even if I don't use the effect, it is still upping my Necromancy count for a potential Viscaria in the future. Of course, the Kronos means that they don't move to 6 play points, so they only have 5 available. And the funny thing is, I have another one in hand, so I can do it again next turn. I think Kronos is one of these cards that I really did not expect to be so good. Like, I knew it was gonna be good. I did not expect it to be this good. But it is. It is incredibly strong. So Mikael comes out, and because I have a free board, I'm like, why not? Let's just Kronos again. And just annoy them. And again, this is important because this potentially gets me to a turn 8 Zebit. Unless, of course, they have their own Kronos, which would be a problem for me. But, you know, it's still a good play to delay them their game plan here. They get a Mikael out as well, though, which is unfortunate. And Obsessive Scholar, Fuse, Sephie, Fuse, and it's just a board flood turn here. Which means next turn I have turn 8 Zebit, and that's so strong. They're only at 6 play points into my 8. It's kind of like ramp in the opposite direction. And then I just am able to trade the Mikael and play Zebit out, and it's so gratifying. Because I get everything back, and I get draw. The important thing is that I get draw. Not only that, but it uses up shadows for a potential Viscaria in the future, right? So, this is so powerful here. Getting a board of guys. And the debuff and the draw. Ooh! Ghastly Banishment, and there's the Viscaria, which is now very close to being active. It's at 16, so I only need one more usage of Shadows. If this board gets cleared, I can Soul Extractor and then Viscaria, for example, if I need to. The board does almost get cleared, which is not enough for me to Soul Extractor, unfortunately. But it is if I use the Mikael. Think about that. But in the end, I think I end up just Ghastly Banishmenting here because it's so strong for a potential, like, burst damage, and then also next turn I can always Soul Extractor plus Viscaria. I'm not in a rush. This way I just deal the 6 damage to the dome, and they're on the back foot here. So you can see how this completely has turned around into my favor after their initial wave of board flood. And because they're only at 7, they don't even have a potential OTK with Sephie yet, because that's on turn 8, and that's why Chronos is so powerful. And now I'm at, of course, the 10 play points. Soul Extractor. Attack, 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 Evo attack. Easy clapperoni. Deck is so much fun, man, honestly. Love to see a new Shadow archetype come out here. Now here's a match against Forestcraft, and I was so scared going into this because I think Forest is incredibly powerful. Both Castelle and Magachio got new toys, so I was a little nervous. But going into it, of course, we have a nice hand after this mulligan because I needed that Haunted Mansion on 1 for a proactive play. If you don't get the Haunted Mansion, it's kind of hard to find things that you want to do in the early game. So I feel like Haunted Mansion is actually so underrated, and you just need to have it. All right. The Plumeria come out on 1, which is kind of annoying because I know that's going to lead into a Windflower Tiger or Salvia Panther, and it absolutely does. And now I'm on the back foot immediately. I mean, listen, Castelle going first already puts me on the back foot, but at least I have the Haunted Mansion generating me Ghost, so I can trade a little bit into this board. But yeah, I'm going to be taking a lot of damage over the course of this game. This early game and mid game rather, and it just keeps going. So immediately I'm in an incredibly perilous position here, only at 13 defense, but thankfully, and I never thought I would say this, thankfully I draw Mikael, which lets me trade into another Salvia Panther, keeping me slightly more alive than I would be otherwise. And I know that I have the Goddess next turn, so I just have to survive so that I can Goddess, clear board, and then hopefully maybe top deck Asuka Shiori as well so I can play it alongside, but maybe not. Anyway, they flood the board with guys. Thankfully, the Plumeria effect is not active yet, so that fairy is not going face, and then I can still clear this board with the Goddess, no problem. No Asuka Shiori off the top makes me a little bit sad, but whatever. Get rid of the Soul Extractor, it's kind of useless at the mo. And I think I need the Chronos to just keep this Castelle from completely running me over by delaying their play point count just a little bit. I keep the Ghost in hand because I'm thinking I might need it to proc Slayer of the Dead next turn, or I just play Zebit next turn for heal, depending on what they play on their board, right? Like if they don't play a board, then at least I can Slayer of the Dead and have a proactive play, but if they do play a board, then I play Zebit, get the Mantis, and heal up. And of course, they do end up playing quite the board here. I think they evolved the Fairy into this 5/3 as well, and just hit the 1/1 into face, which means I'm at 7 defense. I can go back up to 13 with Zebit here, which is absolutely necessary, so that's exactly what I do. First of all, get the Mantis and the Beetle out, and then with the Evolve, I can get the Shutterfly and the Mantis for a draw and another heal. Not valuing so much the face damage, obviously, because they're still at 20 defense, and I just need to live, so let's just get that out of here and get that draw, which is super important. Now, next turn is almost definitely a Chronos turn, because I do not want them getting to 7 play points, but here we have Plumeria as well, and they're able to clear my board incredibly efficiently, which is annoying for me. That Fairy Dragon is hilarious. I think it's so much better as a fusion fodder, but as a 9/10, it is a little intimidating. That being said, I do have Banes to clear it, so it's not that much of a stress, right? Speaking of, here comes the Chronos, and I believe I spend Slayer of the Dead to kill it as well, because it's not really doing anything as a 5/5 body. And I need the Necromancy count down so that my Viscaria becomes active, which is crucially important for me. And because Viscaria has Bane, it's able to clear the 9/10 no problem. I do leave up a 3-attack body, which is a little bit concerning, but that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Copium. The good news is they're running out of cards in their hand, right? They spent so long being aggressive that their card count is now 0, right? And I'm down to 1 defense here. But if I'm just able to survive this turn, the odds that I survive the next turn are likely because they only have 1 card in hand. Mikael absolutely saves my butt here. And the Ghastly Banishment top deck is elite, as you know. And yeah, we just go ahead and hit face. Honestly, I should have just run the Mikael in. I don't know why I did it. I think I was just like getting too excited. Like, oh my god, I can actually win this. I don't think that 1 damage is necessarily going to matter long term, but yeah, I probably should have just run the Mikael in. But you know, keeping a body up is good too. Because they didn't have anything, and then I can just hit face. Not that it would have mattered because I had Ghost in the back anyway. Yippee! Oh, actually, I guess it would have mattered, right? Because I would have only been able to summon... Oh, no, but if Mikael was gone, I would have been able to summon 3 ghosts, so it wouldn't have mattered, yeah. And against another Forestcraft here for the final game of the day. And I mean that most sincerely. I think I played this game at, like, midnight. And then right after this, I passed out. Anyway, Magachio leader, Magachio sleeves. You expect Magachio, but they might also be the kind to hustle their opponent and just play Castelle. Let's find out. It's Magachio. Okay, stressful. All right, because Magachio got the new card Fairy Stream, which is another bounce for their game plan, and another 1 play point card as well, so you have to keep that in mind. And then they played the Rafflesia Princess, and I thought, is it Magachio or is it Control? I don't know. Either way, I have an incredibly poor turn 2 here with only Hellfire Strike because my body got killed and I was not able to play Slayer of the Dead. But thankfully, we have Lucius on turn 3, and I trade into the Rafflesia and 1 to face because I don't really care about the 1/1 body here. Asuka Shiori turn 3 is incredibly weak, as you know, and Asuka Shiori turn 4 is even weaker. This makes me think even more that it might be Control and not Magachio, but still kinda up for debate here. Chronos is really good against combo decks to prevent them from reaching a threshold of play points where they can just combo you down. So go ahead and do that and kill it off as well for 2 draw because I really need the draw at this point. I don't really have that much in hand at the mo. I'm thinking that I might need to even sacrifice Viscaria for Slayer of the Dead here. So Provisions plus Michelle makes me think, okay, this is probably Control, and I got bamboozled by the Magachio leader and sleeves. So whatever, we just go face, okay? We clear the Michelle, obviously. I don't want it to bounce and then be a nuisance in the future. So we just clear with the Soul Extractor and go face. Fine by me, okay? And they play their Chronos, which is obviously really annoying. Chronos is one of those cards where you love playing it, but you hate it being played against you. And they bounce it too, and I'm like, oh god, here we go. If that doesn't say Control, nothing will, right? Thankfully, we do get the Mikael on the board. Not that it super matters, but that heal is nice, especially against, you know, making sure I'm above the Oberon threshold and all that. So, Slayer of the Dead is able to evolve here, get myself another draw, get myself another Ghost, and we get a Viscaria. And I just play it for the body because I want to have some tempo on the board here. They're at 9 defense right now, so making them have to react to my board is my best bet of winning the game at this point. They play another Chronos, which is so annoying because I was really looking forward to playing Zeb at the turn after. And I'm sure they knew that too. So now, without the ability to play Zebet, what's my play this turn, right? Well, I have the Mikael out. I can trade my 2/0/1 bodies, which is fine. And I believe I get them down to 1 defense this turn by using Lucius, getting Ghosts in, and then Hellfire striking. And then Viscaria is able to evolve and draw a card as well, which is an effect that people need to remember. That's just a good effect right there. Hellfire Strike plus Ghastly. Oh yeah, okay, no. That's right. I just played the Ghastly because I have another Ghastly in hand. Again, I played this at midnight when I was half awake, so do forgive me for my fumbles and commentary here. I don't really remember. So, anyway, they play the Goddess and bounce it back. And finally, I get to play Zebet. But with no evolution point, it is kind of less good. Still, though, I do value the draw here. So we go for Beetle and draw. And it's just a good play to flood the board. Again, make them react to me. And even if they clear my board, they're still taking 2 damage off of the Beetle as well. So they'll be at 3. Obviously with Goddess -2, they'll be at 8. And Fairy Stream puts them at 9, which is kind of annoying. But the banishment is lethal, baby. Putting them down to 7, and then this should do 8 damage off the top. Wha-bam! So you can see how the early game and mid game pressure leads into a nice big burst damage at the end.